morning, everybody. I want you to imagine that the red balloon that I'm holding is your campaign. We've selected the audiences, we've planned the budget, we're starting to think about how we use channels.
Sorry to burst your balloon, Simon, but that's how quickly you can lose your audience's attention.
We've got your attention, let's see if we can hold it.
I'm Emma Foley, joined by Simon Lonsdale on the stage, and we're going to be talking to you today about brand building where it matters the most.
Firstly, I want to talk about how we believe that traditional methods of building brands are under threat. Everybody in this room will know about media fragmentation, so I'm not going to spend a long time talking about that, other than to say we know it's going to be harder than ever for brands to get the mass reach that they used to get. What I'm going to talk about, though, on this slide is the other point. We also think there's fragmentation happening within the attention economy. In 2024, Oxford Dictionary made brain rot their word of the year, beating demure and dynamic pricing into second place. They define brain rot as being the supposed deterioration of a person's mental or intellectual state resulting from watching too much trivial or unchallenging content online. Against this backdrop, it's becoming harder and harder for your brand to make an impact and stand out. Alongside this, we increasingly see there's a crisis in marketing organizations. I love this quote from Karen Martin, president of the IPA. She said, "We've just got lost in short-termism. AI mega mergers, budget pressures, regulatory constraints, and tech bros cosplaying as Bond villains. We've lost our conviction." We think it's a really good summary of the conversations we have with clients and the sentiment that's out there in the wider industry. And it's a core part of the increasing pressure that we see on marketers. Next, we see that the role of brands in customers' lives is under challenge. Brand is supposed to be there to differentiate yourself from your competitors. But a study by Kantar in 2024 revealed that differentiation is in decline. They found an average decrease in differentiation of minus 23% from 2019 to 2022 between the leading 75 brands in their study. And continuing with the theme of the role of brands being under threat, we increasingly see that price beats brands. Post-COVID, and after years of inflation, it's been hard for brands to win back customers who've experienced own label quality at reasonable prices. Almost 70% of retail shoppers in the UK agree with the statement that price is more important to me than brands.
It's no surprise then that with all of this, that retail volumes are stagnating across the industry. The chart here represents a recent study by ONS, and what it shows is that whilst the value of sales is increasing, the volume of sales is steadily in decline. And what that means basically is that inflation is propping brands up, making them look like they're doing better than they actually are. And this is obviously a massive problem for brands and for brand marketers. There is one place, however, where marketers are adding huge value to their clients, and that is on the retail media battlefield. Retail media is not just another trend. It's a fundamental difference in the way that marketing works. The brands that recognize this and embrace that convergence between brand and performance are the brands that are going to thrive in years to come. As Britain's best-loved supermarket and the #1 retail media network in the UK, we think that we've got a unique perspective to offer that demonstrates how marketers can both drive performance and build brands in the retail media environment. Now, I know what you're all thinking. It's lower funnel, it's conversion driving, it's not the place I'm going to build my brands. Maybe it's even a tiny bit boring. But we're going to show you today that it's anything but. There are 3 areas where we believe that Tesco Media demonstrates the power of retail media in building brands, and we're going to talk to you about those 3 today. The first one is reach, frequency, and precision, where it matters the most. The second one is an omni-channel ecosystem that connects brand and performance. And the third one is a creatively effective medium that drives brand fame.
Great. I'm going to talk through the first of these, so reach, frequency, and precision where it matters most. So let's talk reach. Tesco reaches 35% of the UK population every week. Our website is in the top 20 most visited websites in the UK. Clubcard is an absolute UK powerhouse. 84% of all sales taking place in the Tesco are accompanied by Clubcard. Clubcard's now up to 24 million active UK households. For context, in the UK there are just over 28 million households, so 24 million of those have got an active Clubcard. But it's not just Clubcard that experiences growth. We continue to invest in our store estate too. We're up to 2,863 stores, which is an increase of 78 year on year. And we're at 16.3 million customers using our app on a regular basis. Whatever group or community you're trying to target, whether it's gym goers, pet owners, or people trying to feed their families on a budget, Tesco has them at scale. So we've talked about reach. Also, we believe we've got frequency as well. So slightly complicated chart, so I'll try and make it a bit easier. So the left-hand side of the chart is the average number of store visits per customer. And you see that on average, a customer is visiting our stores through just over 3 times a week. In the middle of the chart is looking at how customers behave across different channels. And you can see actually when you get to more digital channels, of course, the number of visits we get from customers, the frequency increases significantly. So the dark blue bar you can see right in the middle is for the customers that shop with us mostly online. And with those customers, we see they're with us just under 30 times a month. So significant frequency being delivered there. We know that customers are going to Tesco.com not just to convert, but also to seek inspiration from brands and to plan their shop before they do it. And then finally, on the right-hand side of the chart, the pie chart is showing the various shopping missions that customers have when they're shopping with us. So it's not just about a meal deal or a big shop. You can see there are a variety of different shopping missions that customers have. And when we see campaigns do really well, it's when they match their campaign up to the shopping mission. And then finally, I want to talk about precision at scale. So we have reach, we have frequency. But the real benefit of Clubcard data is the amazing amount of insight that it gives us into customers' behavior. So taking a couple of examples from this, behavioral-based audiences. So that will be where I can identify which customers buy your brand. I can identify which customers buy your competitor's brand. I could identify which customers only buy your brand when on promotion, and so on. Where this starts to get really interesting, though, is when we look at smart and predictive audiences, driven by data science and AI capabilities. We're able to spot and predict trends in shopper behavior before the shoppers actually know it themselves. So, for example, we can spot the customers who are about to lapse from your brand before that behavior actually exhibits itself. Equally, we're able to spot and identify the customers who may be interested in your new product development.
So moving on to the second building block, and that is that we make it easy for marketers to invest in an omni-channel ecosystem that connects both brand and performance. So unlike many other media owners, we are not dominated by one single channel. In fact, we don't have more than 30% share of any channel. And rather than being a problem, this actually gives us a unique and exciting opportunity, enabling us to work with brands across the funnel to connect both brand and performance with channels that are complementary in Tesco Media's ecosystem. As I said earlier, we know that traditionally, retail media is associated with lower funnel conversion-driving tactics. But increasingly, brands are working with us on upper funnel campaigns as they realize the power of being able to build their brands so close to that point of purchase. Retail media isn't just a line on a plan. It runs through and can power every element of that plan. When retail media is done well, it connects the dots for customers, reducing fragmentation and creating more memorable and compelling campaigns. One of the beauties of retail media is the compound effect of channels working together, shown here in this gorgeous visualization of KitKat's latest launch activity for their new Blocks bar. We like to call it creative compounding, and it's the perfect antidote to the aforementioned brain rot that we were talking about earlier. Creative compounding across multiple channels has substantial results on both brand and sales metrics. You can see here that Nestlé used a full suite of comms in synergy to deliver an incredibly impactful launch. This campaign actually delivered 4 times the brand uplift as per our normal benchmarks, so pretty impressive stuff.
On to the third and final building block for today. Tesco Media is a creative, effective media that drives brand fame. Why does that matter? Well, we know that creativity leads to more effective communications. In the recently published The Long and Short of It, System 1 found that with large parts of today's media landscape being skippable, ads that skip the scroll can deliver enormous dividends. Creativity has never mattered more. Equally, a study of the IPA's Effectiveness Data Bank found there's a 6.1x increase in effectiveness when the content inspires emotion, triggers behavior, and encourages people to share. And the reason that we believe this matters to retail media is about the context that we offer, the contextual environment that retail media offers to brands. So on this slide, you see some stats from a survey that IAS ran. 81% of those surveyed prefer to see ads that are relevant to the content they're viewing. 70% are more likely to remember the ad if the context's relevant. And 65% agree they're more likely to engage if they perceive the content nearby to be high quality. So quality plus relevance and context yields the best results. And what better contextual environment than close to the point of purchase when shoppers are thinking about brands? Here are some examples of some brands that have done just that.
Card accepted.
Have you got any plans later?
Never get tired of seeing that sizzle reel. I hope that we've convinced you that retail media is the perfect platform to win across both cross-brand and performance, and that we haven't bored you too much. I'm going to finish by showing you a recent example of a brand with ambitions to improve brand health with combined sales success. To celebrate their 200-year anniversary, Cadbury's partnered with Tesco Media to take shoppers on a year-long nostalgic journey on how they've spread generosity to millions throughout generations. 8 omnichannel campaigns were executed, each telling a different part of Cadbury's story, whilst delivering on our core strategic pillars of creating unmissable and exclusive activations. Just in terms of results, this campaign delivered year-on-year sales increase of over 82%. 16 million people experienced our Secret Santa campaign, and we took the UK's chocolate shoppers from 55% purchase intent to 70% purchase intent, adding 2 million new customers to the Cadbury brand. During Easter alone, we recruited 1.6 million new customers to the brand, with a further 875k recruited during an ultimate match day execution tied to Euro 2024. Finally, we saw a 13% brand uplift with this activity, with shoppers exposed more likely to make Cadbury their next confectionery purchase. Some pretty outstanding results, I'm sure you'll agree, for what is a really established household brand that we all know and love. You can see more case studies showing creative effectiveness in retail media on this very stage with Nina Burrows and Lee Roberts tomorrow at 11:10. So as I said, I hope we've managed to keep your attention today and not contribute to any brain rot you might be suffering from, although I'm sure after a few drinks later it might be a different story. We'd like to leave you just with one question. Are you ready for the next generation of retail media? If you are, and even if you're not, and you'd like to know what Tesco Media can do for you and your brands, please come and find us, talk to us. We'd love to chat. Thank you very much.